actually interested to see that you guys went like a drone bait comp and then switched. Was that talked about like previous, and you guys had that planned all around, or was it just kind of off the cuff? Right, let's see if we can bait them into banning some random bullshit.
So we've definitely talked about some ways to like feign a bait or something. So like if you go Vexor and Vexor Navy, people always instantly it's like, oh, it's another fucking drone comp. Next we got to ban the Ishtar, and then we got to ban the Dami Navy, and so on and so forth. But like Vexor Navy is just like flat, really good two good cruisers that do a ton of damage in a Galente rush, right? So it looks like one thing, but it's like the side core of another thing. So it's and it leaves your points open too if you really need to shift hard on something else.
Yeah, no, that's really, really cool and very smart. I hadn't thought about doing something like that, so that's awesome. So you were in a worm both matches, were you not?
I was.
Did you have to change your fit at all for either of them, or were you just,
I
yeah, let's
changed
fly the
my
same flight?
Caldari ECM to a Galente ECM that fight. Actually, a Mimitar ECM. That was literally, and I changed my rig from a thermal in the other one to a kinetic this one, which probably saved my bacon.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. How many kill marks did you end with?
0. No, 1. I
What?
got 1.
Oh, you did get one. All right. Well, that's very cool. So, who does the drafting for you guys? Is it kind of a group think, or do you have one or two guys that are in charge of it?
Well, normally it would be, our team captain, a certain Darren, but he's absent today. So, the team, which has been kind of working together, was doing it as a whole, really. There was lots of talk, lots of interchange, utilizing some of the plans we worked on, and then just putting it together. I think like the whole team did like exceptionally well. Like Dante, was coming up, Soldarius, Flip, Banzai, everybody was just contributing and making sure that we put together um, a really good composition both times.
No, I'm actually very, very impressed how fast you guys got a grasp over all of that thing. Kind of going down that line there, how did you figure out about us, right? You're a very well-known person in our little spaceship world, but how did you hear about our little world?
I watch Twitch Eve
Fair.
stuff most days, so I saw a really cool ad. I'm like, oh, this looks cool. I tried it out. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. Came in for some of the scrims, and then you guys started formalizing a little more with teams, and I just joined one of the local test teams, I guess you could say, and here we are.
Oh, that's very, very cool. So how would you suggest, us from a marketing perspective going forward? We're trying to get some of the other big blocks involved just because they command so many numbers and people that, might not want to just sit and wait for a ping or a gate camp or mine and give them a half an hour to come try this. How would you suggest that we move forward into getting some of those people?
Honestly, I think you force them to realize it's there more than anything. You just keep doing what you're doing, and sooner or later, their members are going to realize that there's this really cool thing going on the side, and they can either be part of it or they can, sit on their block and be not part of it. Right?
Yeah.
It's their choice in terms of how they want to. Like, it's important to understand that like the blocks don't control their members like that, right? Like, if there's this awesome thing there, it's there, right? And obviously, people can push their members towards it, but obviously at the moment there's some issues with that in terms of, teams
Yeah.
in the league and so on.
Fair.
But you have a great product. The more it's out there, the more people can see it, the more likely you are to have people enjoy it. And
Yeah.
as more people enjoy it, the more it's going to draw people in. I mean, obviously, you've got 200 plus people watching this right now. It's a Saturday, and there's all kinds of other stuff going on. It doesn't surprise me at all that you guys are having as much success as you are. I mean, obviously, you're not going to turn around tomorrow and be at 1,000 people, but
Right.
it does take time to kind of work your way into people's mentality. But bit by bit, that's how you get there.
Yeah. No, thank you. Appreciate that. How did you define the barrier of entry? Like coming in, we need to streamline our process of how to explain how to get involved and stuff. How did you find that,
So
being
it's usually
completely
pretty
out?
simple. You join the Discord, and people are like, "We need people to do this." Then you join the TeamSpeak, and they're like, "Okay, maybe I should do this." Are you
Fair.
guys like moving the avatars so that they're like kissing or something? Is this like?
Is somebody messing with them?
No, I'm not doing it.
That
sorry,
board,
sorry.
Joe,
Chat
man.
were talking about social distancing, so I was just having some fun with them.
Oh, thank you very much, Billy, for coming in and also participating. And man, you guys look like you have an insanely good grasp on this. So, freaking congratulations for that. That's impressive.
Well, thank you, and hopefully we'll be able to take the league and
Oof.
show that Tappy's got the world at its back.
Oh
here.
no, the tappy memes. Oh no.
Yeah, well, Be careful what you wish for.
Well, again, thank you very much, sir.
Not a problem, guys.
All right, so it does look like our draft is ongoing. I am good at computers and cannot find it. Gerald, can I have a link?
I'll get you a link.
Thank you.
You can hear him slowly dying inside.
Oh, seriously. All right, cool. Yeah, let's go over and check out this thing now that I know what's going on. So the Tuskless Widow first ban, that's new. Will, take us through the Tuskless comp, please.
So they've gone with TFI Barg as their first two picks and a Pontifex. I really like the TFI Barg core. I think it's very strong, but I'm not sure about picking it first. I wonder if committing to so many points early gives too much away and leaves yourself open to a counter. But as setups go, this is one of my favorites. I like this a lot so far. I mean, we'll see how they fill in the rest. And on the other side, just a Worm Cerberus, pretty generic so far. Not sure exactly how they're going to fill in the rest.
Oh no, AP picked a Vagabond. Hoodie, take us through the Integritas draft, please.
So, Scorpion Navy issue, Rattlesnake ban. They don't want to see the heavily tanked shield battleships there. Gila, strong ban on top of it. Although it's interesting because they did pick up Worm and Cerberus themselves, so I guess they just banned it because they didn't want Red first picking it. Worm, Cerberus, and coming down with Vagabond. And one thing to note is that they're really, really short on the timer. They're only a 1.5 minute away compared to the 4 minutes on the other side.
You would have think that AP came in here with a little bit better idea what he's wanting to do. Like, that's, And to me, it looks like Integritas are doing like a classic hack rush here with a Worm for tackle, but I'm interested to see, if Tuskless can pick enough screen to protect from this, or if I'm just completely wrong.
I don't think it's so bad to spend so long at the start when Red first picks a TFI, because that's so many points and you want to decide what you're going to do to counter that in advance. You don't want to just be picking ships without knowing what you're going to do in the rest of the draft. So it makes sense that they spent all their time.
I'm always really interested to see what happens in the second set of bans, because this is when, all right, you've seen what's going on, now you need to protect your ass. Tuskless, they banned the Sleipnir, which kind of goes into this, rush. It gives them some nice links and also speed. And then Punisher coming out from Integritas. Do you like that one, Hoodie?
I think it's interesting. It is a really strong tackle ship, and there's only a couple of points still available on the Tuskless team. Like a 4+8, like a bomber here could be something, or like a 6-pointer or a 7-pointer basically, and then a Punisher next to it. I think it's actually a smart ban. Unless they intend on picking it up themselves, and clearly they aren't. They don't have enough points on the field. They need something heavier. So I really like it. Actually, smart ban.
If I had to guess, I would guess that the Tuskers will go with something like Daredevil Crewer for tackle, if neither are banned. And I think Blue might go with 2 more hacks here. I'm not sure. 47 points. Yeah.
And do you think
they could just pick
Friglogy?
2 full hack rush with the Worm? That's a lot of damage. Not sure. I don't think it works against the double battleship core though.
Man,
What was that,
armor?
Casper?
I was trying to figure out if Logi's worth it. I know we were talking earlier how Logi just might not be worth it for a whole slot, one of the 5. But I was just trying to, talk out loud and see if that was a thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you fill the 47 points exactly. I'd be pretty worried here as Blue because the TFI Bargus are going to be very hard to break with RR on one of them, probably the TFI.
Crucifier ban comes out. That's probably to make sure that you can't get disruption onto the TFI and Bargus, because those are, you're right, those are going to be your 2 big tridents of damage. Mizier, what do you think should be the next ban here from AP's team?
So the thing is, the Tuskless team only have 12 points left, so they are forced to pick these small support figures, and by banning the Punisher and the Rifter, the Integritas team has denied them some really strong screening ships. So I actually like their bans a lot.
Oof, Macarial. Will, thoughts on Macarial Vagabond Serb Core?
It's interesting. It's interesting. My feeling is still that the TFI Barg core is stronger because I don't think you can't do. Yeah, I wouldn't expect to see any kind of logistics now. You can't do RR on a Mac, right?
I mean, we haven't seen it, but
Or anything, man.
now Mira's on the other team, so who knows?
How many utility highs does the Mac have?
1.
Wonder if AP just got baited on making his next In Rust We Trust movie and just wanted all these ships out. But what do you pick here? 12 points left on Tuskless. What are you thinking you see here?
Daredevil Kura would be my picks.
Yeah, or
that would
something
be-
similar. Yeah.
They're strong screening ships, and that's all they need to stop the rush team.
Do you think like 12 points? Would you go Daredevil and like Crewer? Ooh, okay. There's the Crewer. You could do an Interceptor here.
You could do
Wing
Malediction.
Knight.
Yes.
Is there a way to survive in a Malediction, not Abyssal Fit, against Worm Cerberus, or do you just eat a dick?
I think you just said it for me, mate. You're going to eat the whole bag. Of dicks. Your job is just going to be running around and crying and hoping you last long enough.
Ooh, Griffin coming out. This is the first ECM platform ship that I've seen today. Is it not? Have I missed that?
It is.
So he can maybe try to sit at range, just make the TFI and Bargus shoot him, and maybe save the rush core. I don't really know. I do like no obvious Logi on either team. I'm trying to think if Mira can hide Logi somewhere, or do you think this is just a straight up brawl? Hoodie?
I think he's brawling. I don't think he needs to hide Logi anywhere. That's the main reason why I think it's actually not happening. Not that he couldn't. You can go with some light Logi, by just putting it on the Bargas, which obviously has a couple of high slots available. It's unlikely that it's going to happen.
Huh. So I think that the Tuskless team has to kite away here and use the Crew or Vigil fleet to screen this Mimitar Rush-esque setup. Do you think this Griffin jams the screening things, or do you think it tries to jam out DPS? Oh, Will?
I think it tries to jam out DPS. I think I think it tries to jam out DPS. I would assume that the TFI and the Barg will be rapid heavy, so they can apply to the hacks. And yeah, jamming DPS seems good. Do you guys think that even if the Mac and the hacks get on top of the TFI and the Barg, that they'll be able to break through everything quick enough, or that it's the TFI and the Barg are just too tanky?
I think they're it's going to be tough. Like just looking at it on paper without any freaky stuff like crazy gems happening or people just doing weird moves. I think the Tuskless just have a stronger comp, and it's going to be their match to lose.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So, Villy, you still here?
I am, yes.
What's your take on this draft here? If you had to pick a side to put yourself on, which side are you going with?
Well, I mean, it's very obvious that Red has some pretty massive advantages in their composition. The fact that they have Lynx is pretty huge. Blue side's Griffin seems like such a crazy choice, being that if it's in range to jam anything, it's also basically in range to die. And even if he's trying to, prop around at, 2.5k, 3k at like 80 kilometers or something, he's still going to have an insane amount of trouble trying to survive. Like, Macarial is such an odd pick. Like, it's just like a poor man's TFI in most cases. Like, yeah, he can get on top of things, but does he do more damage? Not really. Does he? It's just some odd choices in my opinion, I guess.
Macarial at 40 points definitely seems very expensive for my taste.
What do you expect
I just don't feel like they have any real advantages. Like, at first I was like, oh, Worm Serb, okay, so maybe they're going to kite and control range a bit, but then it's like Vagabond, they kind of limit their choice. Like, I almost feel like if they would have went Munin Serb, and then done the rest, maybe they could have a sit at 100 kilometers kind of comp and do some damage that way. But this feels like they're half in on range and half in on short range, and they're just not committed to either.
Yeah. Something going for the Integritas team, it's going to be kind of hard for that Griffin to get killed. I guess the crew or VFI could run at it, but you really need those to screen. Bargast and Typhoon, I mean, they can shoot at the Griffin, but in my mind, that's kind of a wasted time. So the Griffin might actually have a free game if piloted well here. Maybe the Pontifex can get some drones on it, but a well-thought piloted Griffin can stay out of that drone control range. So
Well-
ECM and RNG could play a part here.
I agree with you on that because, yes, obviously, you don't want to shoot the Griffin. But if the Griffin successfully jams the Bargast or the Foon, that means that they have to shoot him, which means he has to get himself killed, which in theory might save him some time and whatever. But I don't know. I just look at Blue Team and I just don't see enough damage to really do it. But they very well could. It's certainly a tricky composition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, are you thinking rapid lights here, or sorry, rapid heavies from the Barg Typhoon, or cruises, maybe some meme torps? What do you think?
I think it has to be rapid heavies, honestly, like with 2 hacks and I mean you have the Vigil fleet, which helps a little, I guess, but if you're that worried about killing the Macarial, I feel like you're not doing like a proper assessment of the risks.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find win conditions here for Integritas. Something that happened, actually, I was flying against Hoodie one time. They had some ECM against us, and we had a rapid heavy comp. If your rapid heavies get jammed at different times, and then your clips are offset, like one's reloading, one can fire, that's actually really hurts your DPS, right? Because you have a long reload time. If you don't clear anything on your clip, then you sit there reloading while your buddy's firing, and then you swap back and forth. That can be tankable sometimes. So I'm really interested to see what happens with this Griffin. Hoodie, you remember that match, by the way?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's especially tough if you're shooting at something that actually has a reasonable-ish buffer tank, something like, say, a Slipnir, and then getting desynced on your clips can be horrible.
I mean, do you think a team like this, if one of, say, the Bargast calls, I'm jammed, does he just continually shoot the Griffin then and the Typhoon continues on the target, or do they both stop until they both can shoot again?
It depends. I think there isn't like strong enough sustain coming from this team that you really need to wait till you can burst something again. I think keeping the guns going is probably the main idea here, and then the guy that gets jammed can just dispatch the Griffin quickly.
Well, if you're asking about a win condition for the blue team, the way I would kind of view it is you probably want to like come in at 50, put the Vagabond in kind of a screening position, try to murder off the Crower and the Vigil fleet and the Ponty to a degree while you're trying to absorb as little damage as possible. And once you've kind of cleaned off the frigates, then go in for like a full hardcore kind of burn in and take it. I feel like if you're burning directly into the Crower, Vigil, Ponty, whatever, you're going to get screened a bit. You're just kind of splitting your damage. You're putting yourself in a position where you're going to be eating the maximum amount of damage. I really feel like you've got to work down. You got to work from the small ships up, kind of thing, and ideally at range.
Yeah.
I kinda
What do you
feel
think
like
about a
another
ham
option as well.
Serb? Sorry. What do you think about a ham Serb here, Avili?
I'm not a fan of ham Serbs.
Now with Rage, they get a lot of DPS, correct? Isn't it like 900?
Yeah,
Decent range as well.
I mean they're not terrible. The thing is, ham Serbs are good if you catch your opponent off guard with it.
Yeah, for
Will
sure.
they do?
I guess.
Will they do that? The second you land on grid, people look at your guns and they're like, it's a ham Serb. That's an issue. So.
Also, the one thing I like about this is that you're looking at the blue team. Obviously, they've got the ability to delete the frigates with the worm and the Serb, and that any range that the Barg can control the Mac can just shoot back. Projectiles will engage at that range. Of course, whether he can tank is a different question, but he can at least start hitting them. So those small things are going to die. The Bargast will get pressured by the Mac, but just can the Mac fight that? And I don't think so.
I actually think that the ham Serb might be viable here, because they're going to need all the DPS they can get on these battleships, and even with the Worm and the Vagabond, they should be able to damage those frigates pretty quickly. So it might still be worth bringing a ham Cerberus just to get all the DPS they can get against these battleships, because otherwise they're going to lose the DPS rate.
Yeah, I mean, now that I'm like looking back at it and kind of thinking about it, maybe the Griffin is a really good pick actually. Just because there's no way for them to really challenge the Griffin. If the Courier is not screening and he's chasing off the Griffin, then that means he's effectively out of the fight for probably 4 minutes or 5 minutes. If you're all burning in there with a Ham Serb, an AC Vega, AC Mac, and you've got this Griffin at 50 kilometers, like there's no way to kind of like screen off and go deal with it. It's
The
just there. You got to
Pontifex
deal
will
with
put
it.
drones on the Griffin and possibly
Well, if
the
he's in
Barg and the
range.
TFI as well.
How is
And
the
since they
Pontifex
don't
going to
have
get in
any
range of the Griffin,
sustain
though?
in range
You
for
got to get in
drones,
drone control range, 60 kilometers.
Right.
And for sure,
I don't
that
expect
Ponty's
it to
going to be
be
warping
too
with
hard.
battleships. That Ponty's going to warp with his battleships, and those battleships will be suicidal to warp at 0. So he's going to start out of range of drone control.
Perhaps, yeah. If the Griffin can stay out of drone control range the entire match, then that's a problem.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously the Griffin's going to warp it at 50, and you can't be the one warping your ships in at 0, right? Because against a rush comp, you want to be. I mean, maybe they do, but
I don't think they would have any problems going at 0, but yeah, I'm not sure will there work.
That would be an interesting call, to say the least, if they went in at 0. It'd just be like hail and hams to start. And...
Huh. So the Crucifier was banned from Mirror's team, so obviously he knows what he's weak against. There's only really 2 DPS platforms. Do you think the Integritas team have mid slots to spare anywhere for some missile guidance disruptors that would be meaningful enough?
No.
I mean, this is all mostly active tank, right? You need your mids for tackle and tank, so it's really hard to hide anything anywhere. I don't know. I think it's obviously a skill matchup, but I think either team can play it. I think the Integritas can fly into this win. That's really cliche to say, isn't it? Fly into a win. Anyway, whatever. I think they just run at this crap, kill anything that's screening them, get some lucky jams off so that their rushing things don't get primaried. And if the Griffin dies, oh well, it's time spent on it and not, breaking through an ADC of the Serb and Vega. It's going to take time. And you have a Macarial that's maybe overpriced, yes, but it's still doing damage the entire time.
The one thing I want to see is the Mac just pushing the Barg and TFI off the grid entirely and making boundary. There are a few things scarier than a Mac burning at you at high speed.
If AP boundaries, he is never actually going to hear the end of it. I'm going to say that now. Yeah,
but that's
on the
actually
blue team,
a viable thing to think about. Is the we talk a lot about pressure on tanks or pressure with the ECM, but another thing is pressure on the players. So if someone is playing a comp that's hard to execute, and then the opponents are rushing into you, then you're going to get pressured up against the wall of the arena and might actually make mistakes.
Oh, it's going to be like the Barghest and the TFI are going to be running away from that Mac for most of the match. I was more thinking, can the Mac actually tank that by the end? I think at some point the Mac's going to break. As long as
if everything focuses the Mac right away, I don't think there's any way. Like, if you're burning in with all of this, the obvious target seems to be the Mac, right? Or maybe the Vagabond.
Yeah, the Mac's DPS. The Vagabond's going to be hard to hit.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you got a Barghest, a TFI, a Ponty, a Kerr, all, like, with a Vigil painting you and all the rest, like, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that a Typhoon fleet and a Barg can kill a Macarial in one clip? I don't actually know the EHP of that. I should know, but I don't. That seems to be a lot of EHP to chew through for just one clip. 2 battleships that are great at it, but, a Macarial is also a battleship. That's a lot of hit points.
If it's active tank, yes, they'll break it. If it's passive tank, it'll just maybe take 2 clips. They'll still break it.
With some random Griffin jams, I think it has a chance.
It's entirely possible they could have the TFI or Barghest go cruise, like just one of them.
There's also the far outside option of both just going torpedoes.
Yeah,
I don't think you can't hit hacks with torpedoes. I don't think that's an option. I mean, I guess you have a Vigil Fleet issue and a Crewer has a lot of webs, but still, like, oof. I think
and
that
a long scram from a Barg too.
Yeah. I think that Cruise is a better option because you could stack maybe some TPs on that Crewer and Vigil Fleet. And with webs, it's an option. I think at least a better option than Torps. Hoodie, if you're on Tuskless side here, do you actually primary this Macarial, or what do you go for?
It kind of depends on whether gems are landing and whether the Cerberus and the Vagabond are pushing in. I think you can primary it. I think there's enough damage on your side, regardless of whether you're Rapid Heavies or Crews, that you can probably do enough damage into it. I don't think there's any sustain on this side, so anything that you'll do to the Macarial mostly stays. He might have some local reps, but it's not going to be enough to rep this kind of damage. I think ideally, though, you'd probably kill the Vagabond first. I think it's just a
Now here's an
relatively easy target.
Do you pack remote SIBOs are allowed in this format, I believe. Do you pack remote SIBOs?
For which ship?
Yes,
like your
absolutely.
Vigil Fleet or Courier probably, or maybe the actually the Pawnee probably the best for a remote SIBO to
think they're
ECCM up
mostly
the
redundant.
Floon or the Bargast. I think it's entirely possible you could end up with like that Griffin loaded with like 4 Caldari Racials or something like that, and just the Bargast never gets a shot off, aside from shooting at the Griffin itself.
Huh, this is definitely a skill matchup. I'm going to be watching that Griffin pretty much the whole time. I wish I could see what he's jamming. But A, if he doesn't boundary and just run. But man, he can really mess with this rapid light clip, assuming that's what it is. Maybe it's just that I have PTSD from losing an AT finals to that. But still.
Yeah, like Griffins are one of those ships where like they can have such a massive impact. It's just like it's so pilot skill intensive, like beyond belief, right? Because you're in like the thinnest ship on field with the highest possibility to make an impact. It's just crazy how coin flippy it can be because of that.
Oh, they are at a time. It looks like teams are starting to get on grid. So we're going to go down the list here, and I would like to change it up a little bit. I want a primary for the team that you have chosen to win. So, for example, I'm going to choose AP's team, and they need to kill the Crewer and Vigil Fleet first. So, Hoodie.
Which team?
You tell me which team you think you're going to win and what they should primary.
Oh, right, okay. I think, honestly, Typhoon Fleet and Bargas are going to be stronger here. Biggest primaries is going to be the Vagabond, providing they can get proper tackle on him. Absolutely.
Fair. Rain?
I'm cheering for the Tuskless team. They got a primary of the Macarial.
All right. Will?
Yeah, I agree. I think they should probably shoot the Vaga first. If it comes in, they can also shoot the Mac. I don't think they should waste any of the rapid heavies on the Griffin if possible. I don't think it'll be an issue just killing it with drones, personally.
So you think if you get jammed, you just wait out your timer and just sit there and then shoot
It's
again?
It's hard. It depends exactly on how the match is going, but yeah, I would definitely consider waiting.
Yeah. Would you go rapid heavies on both or mix it up?
I'd go rapid heavies on both.
All right.
Well, we can already see now what they've chosen, right? And it's
Is it? Oh, you people. All right. Let's continue the list. Monsieur, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Tuskless, and they have to primary one of the hex. And I can see that they have a rapid heavy fit.
Oof. All right. Some prior knowledge here. Wingnut?
I'm definitely going for Tuskless as well, but I'm thinking they go for the Mac. They can hold the Vaga at bay. When he's at 20k, he can't do much.
Yeah. And then Villy, last but not least, who are you going for and what should they primary?
I would like to see Integritas win, but I think their comp is just too difficult to execute, or it's working on too fine a line. But if they're gonna win, they're definitely gonna have to clear out the support ships of Tuskless.
Nice. Oh, it's going to be super interesting. I know we have some back-end knowledge. So you did say they were rapid heavies. Is that correct?
Yeah. Now that they're in the field, we can say, I guess, they are rapid heavies on both the Bargast and the TFI, it looks like.
Interesting. And then if we do look at Twitch, the red team has it. So they've gone for Tuskless 20-12. I'd like to get some more votes in there. So even us casters, if you haven't voted, let's go vote and see how big we can make this vote. I'm going to vote for AP's team. Done. See if we can, turn the tide here. Okay, and it does look. Wait, hold on. I'm getting pinged in my ear. Okay, never mind. That's not true. So we're just waiting on the teams. We've had some minor difficulties. Warping is hard sometimes. It is a best of 2, and this is our final series of the day. So if you're tired of hearing our voices, it's not too much longer, but thank you for sticking around.
So let's have a real talk.
Mm,
Who likes the new Griffin model more than the old Griffin model?
not it.
I like it. It was actually designed by, who is it? Oh gosh, I know his real name. CCP. Fuck. I know he.
CCP fuck.
No. I know
don't
he
think that's a
designed
thing.
it. So he designed it before getting a job at CCP, and then they had an art position open, so they hired him. He was actually implementing it in the game.
Are those hams on the serve? I'm not super. I don't think those are heavies.
I think they're rapid light.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. Well, let's see what happens. I am going to toss this over to our commentators, Wingnut and Rain Chocolate. Please take us away on the last series of the day.
G'day there, guys. Welcome back to another match between Tuskless and Integritas. We have two guys warping at distance in a nice little ball. Do you want to tell us what they've where they are, what they've got, Rain?
Yeah, actually, both teams warped in at 50. But because of the angles they're warped at, so they're at, I want to say a 90-degree angle, but then on the the y-axis, they're a little higher. So they're probably more like 70 from each other rather than like a straight 100 if they're 180 degrees apart. That's some like math, and I don't understand math. They're closer than they should be, is what I'm attempting to say. So they all worked at range.
Let's not talk about math, please.
Yeah, no math, please. But
Well, hey, this is probably the best thing possible for the Bargus in the Tier 5. They're going to be able to shoot freely at that range, and they can just sort of pick their targets, you know?
Yeah, and it was interesting because I remember I think people were talking about, was it the Vega and the Macarial kind of rushing in, which I don't think we will see here based on these warp in ranges. They didn't warp in as though they wanted to just go rushing in. So I'm curious to see if we'll see like two kiting comps kind of brawl it out.
Well, I would love to see the Mac MJD to the other side of them, but that obviously won't work.
I mean, he could get close. He'd be closer than if he just burned the whole way. I'm looking at him.
Well, they're off and moving now.
I believe that is actually a shield Mac as well. I just saw a shield effect on it.
Yep, he has shield effects. He was burning directly at them and then turned, although the Vega is burning towards them as well. It looks like
We're seeing the Griffin being primaried.
Yep, it looked like the worm attempted to go in, but then pulled away. I don't see any drones out and moving. Oh, there they go, from the Macarial.
Yep, it looks like they are primaring the crew, trying to remove those annoying webs from the field.
Yeah, so the crew will act as that screen. Same with potentially the Vigil Fleet issuing the pawn effects.
Oh, I think the TFI actually has remote repair for the crew.
Is that what was happening? Yeah, it does. You're correct.
Got remote repair on the TFI. That is something I haven't seen in it before.
There are also remote rep bots on the blue team, so they have.
And there goes the Griffin.
Or not on the blue team, on the red team. Excuse me. So the Griffin has gone down first. The worm was going in, pulled away. I believe he set his drones out.
It looks like they're going for the Visual Fleet now. See if the Visual Fleet can go hide next to his TFI buddy. Yep, he is receiving reps, and yeah, look at those reps. That's really good.
Yeah, and if we look, the Bargus actually flew into the blue team, so he was attempting to go in at them. Looks like the Bargus and the Macarial are duking it out.
No, I think he still has the Macaro kind of like scrammed out at range when the Mac can't hold him back, but he is now being shot. Like I said, anywhere the Bar can hold the Mac can just shoot him back every time. Yeah,
although to be fair, based on seeing the Typhoon armor sort of repairs, I would try to guess the Bargus is probably a little bit armor tanked.
Yep, he's definitely armor tanked. And now he's burning back to his boys, getting some armor reps.
Yeah.
But the Mac is now in there. Like the Mac is real close to the to this fight.
I feel like
as the worm going down,
adapting to the situation. It looks very clearly like the Typhoon is like kind of a remote rep center, and they're just shooting everything else.
Definitely, fortunately, the Mac could not get close enough to TFI to really start pressuring him, and now it's I think it's already too late to fix anything about that. Yeah. As the Vega is now being shot, he's now ADC'd, so 15 seconds of pretty much invulnerability. But then once that's gone, he's done. Well, I also see him being neutered by the Bargus as well.
Yeah, he is using his own ASB to try and rep some of that damage back up while ADCing. Though he is tackled by the Bargus and the and the crewer, so they did try to primary the crew. Obviously didn't work. He is now tackled on the Vega.
Yeah, if this continues this way, we're going to see a clean sweep from Mira's team. An RR TFI.
feel like, is it Mira who always has the remote rep sort of hidden?
Mira's always got the memes of some sort. Like, he's always got something weird on his comp, but just trying to find is always the pain in the ass. There goes the Vagabond, he goes pop. That being said, they are now shooting the tier 5, so they have actually picked the quote-unquote right call there. We'll see, it's probably a bit late. But that is a Mac
Yeah.
shooting down on that Typhoon fleet, and that Mac is pretty tanky.
Yeah, so
I think we're well past the point where there's any chance of bringing the fight back.
do you think there's anything the blue team can do to redeem themselves in this?
Kill the Mac, kill the tier 5 before they explode.
I don't think they
Hopefully.
have any ability.
He
to
can't.
do either.
He can't even keep up with it, unfortunately, because yeah, he just got bumped away from it by the Barghest.
Honestly,
And he's
watching
got nowhere to counter tackle.
watching this Bargus just fly around as though this big sort of brick, this brick
Yeah,
sort
I
of
was
tackle
expecting the
ship.
Barghest to be flown with finesse and try and stay at 20k, use your extended scram, just be an absolute nuisance and slow everything down. He's just using a battering ram at this point,
Yeah,
just begging him to shoot him.
yeah. So we mentioned earlier the Makara is tank, so he's dropping into shield tanked, and he is dropping into very low shields right now. Once those run out, he's pretty much done for. He probably it looks like he's
imagining the bug.
it looks like he's repping it back a little. Probably.
Yeah, I believe he's actually got a dual shield booster fit. I think.
We're certainly on a clip reload, probably.
Yeah. Something else to call out. So these are from the red team. They actually have tracking disruptor drones out. Something I don't think we've seen
Wow.
too often. They're actually on the Mercurial, so that could explain why. No one
everyone
on
take
the
a look
red
now. It's a rare sight. You're never going to see them again because they're utterly worthless. But here they might actually be ruining the Max day. He's firing at the tier 5 still, I believe. I gotta say that bug is probably wants a giant target painted on the pancake, just shoot
Praetor
me, please.
tracking disruptor drones. Yeah.
And that Mac he's losing his shield now. He's going into armor. Once he's in armor, he's just gonna fall real quick. I believe the reload's now gone off. Yep, we got the Bargos now piling in rapid heavies at point blank.
This looks absolutely hilarious. These two battleships sitting on top of each other.
Yeah, I know. It's just this giant flat pancake trying to ram a Mac. This
Yeah,
goes
but-
backwards.
I was really impressed though because the blue team had a worm, but the worm normally we talk about how strong the worm is, especially against other frigates, and he didn't do really anything against the.
Oh yeah,
red team crew.
that tier 5 with the RR on his frigates. The frigates knew they were getting shot at. They moved back to their tier 5, got their reps, and just didn't die. Like the fact that the Vigil fleet and the crew have survived to the end with a Cerberus on field and a worm, that is well played.
Yeah. And what did we say the Serb had? Was it rapid lights or was it the hand?
It was rapid lights. Yeah.
Wow, so that's really impressive. This Typhoon fleet issue, just owning as a Logi pilot.
Yep, and good flying from the frigates as well to know what's going on and to run back to their friend immediately.
Mm-hmm.
That's they could have got themselves killed still because obviously the RR range is not that good. They hear the Max going to super low hull. We got another shield boost off, but it's not going to be enough. And there he goes.
Yeah. So, go on.
I just definitely they came in at 50 kilometers. I just don't know what the intent there was. If they're,
I get lucky whooping. Well, looks like role players have to role play as the Caldari and run the F away. There's nothing else he can do here.
Yeah, he's pretty far from the red team. Very, very smartly sitting away and not just getting ready to die. Though he's gonna have to try and attempt to outrun those missiles, which he can't really do.
Kind of just looking out for MJD play, but that's not going to happen. I don't think there's any MJDs fitted to these battleships. Makes me sad.
Have we seen MJD plays often in this tournament setup? Or this league?
Yeah, they happen on occasion, and most of those occasions do seem to involve Mira, so.
Oh, okay. Cerberus not long for this world.
Yeah, well flown, well played by Mira's team. Unfortunately, the Cerberus just can't do anything about it. He's ADC'd, but I mean, you're ADCing in hull, baby. It's not going to work.
Yeah. So as the Cerberus dies, that's a clean sweep to Mira and the Tuskless team. With that, we'll send it to an ad break and back to the studio.